G'day, in this video I'm going to show you how to express a cos function as a sine function and vice versa, how to express a sine function as a cos function. So I guess we're just changing, like the graph will stay the same, but we're just going to change the description of them. So I'm going to start with cos x, which is this line here that I've drawn, not very well, but it is drawn. And I want to express it as a sine function. Okay, I'm going to move it in a particular way so that it becomes a sine function. Or actually, the other way around, I'm going to move the sine function so that it becomes the same expression as a cos function. So my original sine function, y equals sine x, is here along this line, and I'm going to move that so that it actually goes along this line here. And as you can see, what I'm going to need to do is this point here, I'm going to need to move that over to here. This point here, I'm going to need to move to there. This point here, I'm going to need to move to there. My scale's a bit off. And this point here, I'm going to need to move to there. Okay, so what I'm doing is essentially I'm moving it, the sine function, I'm going to move it to the left by a certain amount. Now, this one here was 2 pi. That's pi. This is pi and 2. And this is 3 pi and 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this pi and 2 over to here. I'm going to move this pi over to here. I'm going to move everything. So what I'm doing is essentially I'm moving it across to the left by pi on 2. Okay. In this case, and in fact in all cases, it's actually a quarter of the whole period. So if I move a sine graph a quarter of the period across to the left, it's going to become a cos graph. So y equals sine x is what I started with. If I make it y equals sine of x plus a quarter of a period, which is pi on 2, I'm going to get the same value as cos of x. And I can show you that on a graph. If I just go to a graph screen here, let me find another one. So I should get the same answer, cos x there. And if I say sine of x plus pi on 2, I should get the same line, which I do. Okay. So that's how to convert a cos graph to a sine graph. If you want to do this, you have to move it a quarter of a period left. Okay, and then that turns it into the sine graph. Okay, now I'm going to show you the reverse. I'm going to start with a sine graph, and I'm going to express it as a cos function. So there's my sine function there, the blue. This time it's the other way around. And the cos function is the one in the dotted line in the red. What I need to do for this one is I need to move this point from here over to here. I need to move this point from here to there, there to there, there to there. So as you can see, in this case, I'm actually just moving it to the right rather than to the left. So from here to here, again, if that was 2 pi, if that's 3 pi and 2, if that's pi, and if this is pi and 2, I'm moving it a quarter of the period, or in this case pi and 2 to the right. So moving it a quarter of a period. So it was cos x, and now if I want to make it the equivalent to the sine x, I'm going to make it cos of x minus pi on 2, because I'm moving it to the right pi on 2. So if I want to convert that to that, I have to move it by a quarter of a period to the right. Let's just make sure of that. I'll put in up here, I'll make that sine x, and I'll get rid of this one first so we can see sine x, there it is. And now I'm going to put cos of x minus pi on 2. Okay, and there we go, there it is. So very simply, that's how to move a sine graph to a cos graph. Now, I guess the question is, what if it's much more complicated than that? For example, I think I've got this one here. That one is actually that graph there. So cos of 3 times x minus pi on 6. How do I know how to move that one? Or if I'm going to express that as a sine graph, what am I going to do? Let me just draw that over here on my page. Okay. So y equals cos of 3x, was it minus or plus? It was minus pi and 6. Okay, and I want to make that into an equivalent sine graph, so that I can express it slightly differently. Now, going back up to the first one that I did, I think I said if I want to make a cos graph an equivalent sine graph, I've got to move it a quarter of the period to the left. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first find out what the period is of this graph. So the period is 2 pi on b, which is 2 pi on 3. So if I'm going to move it a quarter of the period to the left, then I need to know what a quarter of a period is. So a quarter of the period is 2 pi on 12, which is pi on 6. And I'm going to move that pi on 6 to the left. So this graph then becomes y equals sine of 3x plus pi on 6, because I'm moving it to the left. So plus pi on 6 minus pi on 6. Those two things will cancel, and I'll just get sine of 3x. Okay, let me just see if that works. So that's my graph, that's great. And now I'm just going to do, not that, sorry, I'll do sine of 3x. That's all I've got, and that's the same line. So that's proved. So hopefully that has helped you understand how to convert a sine graph to a sine rule to a cos rule, and vice versa, a cos rule to a sine rule. Essentially, you're moving it either a quarter of a period to the right or to the left, depending on which one that you want. And I guess you just have to either remember which one it is, or you have to be able to draw them and sort of work it out that way, kind of like the way that I did just before. So hopefully that's helped. Let me know if you need any more help. Thanks.